right, I've just upgraded to Slate Drums SSD 5. I've been a huge fan of all the Slate stuff for forever, basically, and I've been using SSD for a lot. I mean, a lot. I've done lots and lots of writing since I got it, and just the quality of those samples and the easy use for me once I got used to the interface really was a game changer. I think there was one stage just after I got it where I was laying down like 2 or 3 demos a day just because I was so amped up about how good I could get drums to sound at home. So SSD 5, basically, as soon as I saw that it was out, I went and upgraded, I think, SSD 4 Platinum to 5. So let's have a look at what it does. If you're used to SSD 4, you see that the layout is a little bit streamlined, but it's more or less what we had going on with SSD 4. You've got the construct kit part where you can choose a pre-made kit. And there are a whole bunch of new kits here, which I'll show you a little bit. But we've got all the classic kits. Some of my favorites were like the classic CLA Hybrid and the classic Chili and those kind of things. And then we've got all new deluxe kits. Actually, I don't know if the deluxe kits are new, but we've got Deluxe 2 here, which is one I want to have a look at. And stuff like the Ribeye kit and the Savage kit. And there's a Police kit, which is really good. I've been playing around with a little bit. Yeah, we'll have a listen to how they sound, but trust me, they sound pretty good. Bunch of new vintage kits and some metal kits, which is going to apply to a lot of people and appeal to them as well. So we've got that. Then you'll see that the edit instrument section is kind of updated. You can route, basically, say we've chosen a kick drum here. You can choose where you route each microphone on the kick drum. So you can see here that it's sort of like we've got the room mic, the kick out, overheads, room, everything that would be picking up a kick drum in a real room, basically, if you were miking it, you can route to different outputs and internal aux sends. There's obviously the usual stuff with dynamics, all of these kind of velocity and the stuff that you don't need to dive into to really enjoy this, but if you do want to dive into it, it is there. So I'm not really going to cover that too much. The new ADSR, well, it's not new again, but it's just a different look, a new layout. I find it pretty easy to play around with that. And the thing that I like is if you're in Construct Kit, much like SSD4, you can find a drum that you like from any of these packs and either drag it onto the kit or onto any of these sample pads, which you can then obviously access in the piano roll. And if you don't want to use a piano roll, there are loads and loads of grooves here. So you can see that we've got jazz, pop, R&B, rock, soul, a whole bunch of grooves. This is really, really handy, again, when you're writing and you don't want to sit there and basically go through and program a whole drum thing. You can just drag and drop one of these straight onto your session and do it. I'm going to stop talking in another minute, I promise, because I want to show you guys some of the sounds in this thing. And then in the settings, the big thing for me that I think is really cool is there's now a master volume. So that's a really, really small thing that they've added that I think actually adds a lot of functionality. It's a lot easier to just sort of tweak the master volume from here than to try turn things up on the channel. And obviously, so we've got the grooves. You've obviously got a whole mapping section. The layout is, it looks good. It's everything you would want from a Slate plugin. The big thing, though, to me, and I think this is so cool, is this new Rimshot feature for the snare. So if you're used to SSD4, say I select the snare, you can either tap on the picture of the drum here, and essentially, if you start down here, you're going to get a low velocity hit, and you just move it up until you get a high velocity hit, so that's the classic mode, or you can assign all your maximum velocities to be a Rimshot. And if you've ever done any recording with sort of rock and metal for a drummer, you know that the goal is to get those Rimshots in there because they sound so powerful. So if we're playing around here, you can have a listen to classic and Rimshot. And that's definitely what I like to hear. I'll stop annoying you guys by hitting that. So that's what's going on there. At the moment, I've just opened up an old demo that I made. It's in no way like mix ready or anything like that. It's pretty much where I had it from however many months ago, and I've just changed the SSD4 plugin for SSD5. This kit that I've got, this is basically like a Ludwig kit. I just picked out some of my favorite samples in there. You can see that there's this kick layered kick depth, which is really cool. And the snare, set it on Rimshot, and the toms, and the cymbals. So they've kind of upgraded this part of the interface as well. It's really easy to audition sounds, which I like. Again, you can just go to Construct Kit, Instrument, and drag across your favorite samples. You can also fill them up with a bunch of different samples. So in the mixer section, this is where everything, I think this is sort of the secret sauce part. You can either just play with the presets or you can get into the mixer section and have a play around with this. So what I'm going to do is I'll just play you the track really quickly and then we'll solo the drums. And I'll show you a few tweaks that I like to make when I'm using this particular plugin. So this is a little bit of the track. So that gives you an idea of what's going on anyway. Let's solo this drum track, which is here, and have a listen to this particular kit that I've made. Then we'll basically just listen to some of the other stock kits because I think they sound really good. And there's cool controls in the mixer section, like if you want to reverse the phase of a part, say of the overheads or anything like that, you've got this phase switch here, for example, if I wanted to do that with the overheads. So again, handy stuff, and let me do this. Let me just solo this track because I've kind of pre-prepared this one, which is pretty cool. You can obviously output any of these individual samples to audio tracks in your DAW. I'm using Pro Tools obviously at the moment, but say I wanted to take this room sound, I'm going to output it to channel 16, which is then going into this Soundtoys Devil Lock what's it called? An audio level destroyer. But basically I've got this drum preset on there. So what I'm going to do is just absolutely destroy those rooms and mix them back in a little bit. So this is what it sounds like without the rooms. And then we'll have a listen to it with the devil locked rooms. It's really cool. It's a fun trick. And if you've got a bunch of drum plugins or a particular drum template that you like to use when you're mixing real drums, you can just output all of these there and mix it the way you would mix a real kit, which is pretty hip. So let's, should I leave that drum plugin on? Maybe I won't. I'm going to turn that off and we'll just listen. We'll focus on the SSD5 sounds at the moment. So I've missed so many features as well. Go to the Slate website and check out everything that's going on if you're vaguely interested in this. But that's a kit that I like the sound of. You guys might go, man, this guy sucks. He knows nothing about drum sounds. And that would be accurate. So let's have a listen to some of these preset kits in Deluxe 2. I'll go to the rock kits. One that I really like is this ribeye kit. It's a good name for this kit, in my opinion, because it is meaty. It's nice and juicy and fat and, all the normal adjectives we use to talk about sounds. And you can see here, I wonder if you can change the color of these. That would be cool. That's kind of the only thing I haven't figured out how to do, if you can. I mean, if not, who cares? Anyway, I've been making up time. Have a listen to the ribeye kit. It sounds really good. So I like that. And with all of these, I like to turn the rooms up, or I like to bust them out and absolutely slam them. It makes stuff sound more real. I hate using that term, but it just sounds roomier. And a lot of the time, roomy drums are what we like. Let's have a look. Another one that I really like. This probably isn't the best groove to audition it with, so maybe I'll use one of the inbuilt grooves. Let's use this Police to Meet You kit. So that will load up, and let's go just find a groove from here and we can audition them. So let's go like a pop groove, something in here. Let's go with this one. I haven't even listened to this one yet. So let's go Construct Kit. It is, you can see there that it's all loaded. We're going to the grooves. Let's audition this particular hi-hat pattern. See what it does. That's awesome. You can hear there's that like, classic Stuart Copeland kind of snare. There's a tom groove. If you've got a bridge section. Not a lot going on there. You can have, a different hi-hat pattern in the verse. Something different with this kit. That's pretty cool. Maybe let's pick an R&B kit out or something like that. We'll go with like a vintage thing. Let's go with, I don't know. Let's use this Old and Dusty. That's a pretty cool kit. Again, there's so many options. Hopefully I'm giving a good overview of this because obviously I'm a rock and a metal guy, so I like to use. I basically have one kit that I use, and it's sort of based around that CLA kit. Sub in different kick or something like that, and a different snare. Let's have a listen to some R&B grooves. Let's go with this one. Let's do a chorus. And I really like that. They've added some extra samples as stock, like you've got claps and clicks and cowbells. So that's a really cool groove. And you can see I can turn autoplay on and I can just set loop on as well if I'm auditioning sounds. I like that one a lot. Let's have a listen to a metal kit. The one that I really liked was this, I think it's called Mighty Man. That's the one. So let's have a listen to this Mighty Man kit. And we'll bring up a metal groove, shall we? So we'll go to rock, or we'll just do like a fast rock thing with it. Again, this is so cool because if you're looking for sounds or you're writing and you're like looking for inspiration, or, either you've written something and you want to find a groove, you can search through it like this. Or if you haven't written anything and you want to write something, you can just look for a cool groove and then pick up your guitar or instrument or whatever and start going. So let's have a listen to this. So yeah, the grooves are really good. The sounds are really good. I like that one. You've got obviously all the classic kits. Like I said, this CLA one is still probably my favorite, but the ribeye is pushing it already. You've got electronic kits, reggae. There's so much going on, so much stuff that for me, for a lot of the stuff that I write, a lot of the time I would be using one or two kits. But if you're like part of a writing team, or you just want to have all the sounds there, this is pretty amazing. They've improved the interface. It's a little bit easier to use, but I think the new kits and the new sounds are pretty happening. Yeah. And Stephen Slate isn't even paying me to say this. I just use this and I download, and I thought, there's a lot of people that I know who I get a lot of questions, what do you use for drums on your demos? So it was SSD4 and now it's SSD5. I really like it. For me, it's all about the sounds. I've spent a lot of time sitting there programming the piano roll. I know there are other programs which make the whole groove thing a little bit easier, but for me, it's all about the sounds, and this is absolutely crushing it at the moment. I've only had it for a little bit, and I'm digging it. So well done, Slate. It's about time. I've been waiting for SSD5, and now I can go and make some music with it. If you enjoyed the video, hit the subscribe button. Check out all my other tutorials and videos and reviews, and I would love to hear from you in the comments. So let me know what you think. See you guys around.